Breathe.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be with you once again for this week's Fireside Chat. On the side of the screen that you cannot see is Judy Zarubik making sure the technology works well. She has lined up all the images as well as the two videos, consulting the script for today to make sure it all flows. Thank you, Judy, for the skill juggling you accomplish each week. Since we record these fireside chats on Tuesday mornings, it's good that Judy has enjoyed her cup of coffee beforehand. Sometimes, however, a cup of coffee isn't a good idea at all. As we gradually and carefully emerge from the fourth wave of this pandemic, some of us are trying to embrace a healthier lifestyle. For others, we just want convenience. In fact, consumerism can overtake our understanding of faith. I think my favorite part is our great G-R-A-T-E, Lord. Some of us have avoided the news for fear of what it might reveal. Others get much of their news when copied on emails. Must admit, I've never seen St. Francis of Assisi spelled quite that way. As people return to their offices after months of remote work, certain people might take advantage of this return. It has become obvious to many of us that our world, or at least our perception of our world, has been changed by the pandemic. The elements of our world that were not working were often hidden by the day-to-day living of our lives. Before the pandemic hit, we could ignore the gaps in our society's caring for one another because we were focused on our own lives. 20 months into this pandemic, however, we now know that the world needs transformation similar to that which Jesus taught. Indeed, the first real step in transforming the world is transforming our way of seeing the world. Here's an example of how our faith invites us to transform our perceptions. A pessimist perceives the glass as half empty, while the optimist perceives it as half full. However, the psalmist declares, "My cup runneth over." As a poem from Hafiz proclaims, I sometimes forget that I was created for joy. My mind was too busy. My heart was too heavy for me to remember that I have been called to dance the sacred dance for life. I was created to smile, to love, to be lifted up, and to lift others up. O sacred one, untangle my feet from all that ensnares. Free my soul that we might dance and that our dancing might be contagious. We need that kind of contagious transformation, a transformation of perception which leads to a prayer such as this one by Ted Loder. Gentle me, Holy One, into an unclenched moment, a deep breath, letting go of heavy experiences, of shriveling anxieties, of dead certainties that, softened by the silence, surrounded by the light, and open to the mystery, I may be found by wholeness, upheld by the unfathomable, entranced by the simple, and filled with the joy that is you. Amen. Notice that the prayer speaks of being found. Not only do we wish to be found, but we worry that we are all alone, abandoned by those around us, silenced and ignored. This video by the One Voice Children's Choir is a cover of the song, "You Will Be Found," from the Tony Award-winning musical Dear Evan Hansen. Listen carefully to the journey of discovery within the lyrics, as well as the assurance often repeated.
Nobody was there. Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall and no one would hear? Well, let that lonely feeling wash away. Maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. 'Cause when you don't feel strong enough to stand, you can reach out your hand. And oh, someone will come running, and I know they'll take you home. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. Lift your head and look around. You will be found. Comes crashing through, when you need someone to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. Let the sun come streaming in, so reach up and you'll rise again. If you only look, you'll be found. You'll be found. Even when the dark comes crashing through, running, you will be found. Take you home. You need someone to carry you. You will be found.
The lyrics of that video that jump out at me assure us that even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need someone to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found if you only look around. In my experience, it doesn't matter what your generation, whether young adult or aging senior, whether child or millennial, whether middle-aged professional or marginalized teen on the streets. Whomever you are not looking for a religion that answers all your questions. Instead, we are all looking for a community of faith in which we feel safe to ask those questions. The sort of community of faith echoes Karl Barth when he wrote, "Knowledge of God is not an escape into the safe heights of pure ideas, but an entry into the need of the present world, sharing in its suffering, its activity, and its hope." The community of faith that transforms the world is one that embraces the messiness of life. Jesus always chose loving the neighbor over loving theology. Jesus always chose sitting with the vulnerable over standing with the powerful. Jesus always chose healing the broken over correcting their brokenness. Jesus always chose empowering the poor over defending the rich. When the gospel has become bad news to the poor, to the oppressed, to the brokenhearted and imprisoned, and good news to the proud, the self-righteous, and the privileged instead, it is no longer the gospel of Jesus. In fact, this is what God's kingdom is like: a bunch of outcasts and oddballs gathered at a table, not because they are rich or worthy or good, but because they are hungry, because they said yes. And there's always room for more. You know, I love people that have no idea how wonderful they are and just wander around making the world a better place. I see this within our community of faith every week. Such folks live out their lives transforming each relationship because they themselves have welcomed their own transformation. When people feel a part of them is missing, the transformed among us share part of themselves out of abundance. They have come to understand that they don't pray in the traditional manner because they are always prayer. Through our whole being, we can either share wellness or foster division. It is our choice what and how we share, and it has power. In fact, giving of ourselves to one another for wholeness is both prayer and an answer to prayer. For example, last week's newly approved missional tagline for the United Church of Canada is deep spirituality, bold discipleship, daring justice. Now, such a vision for the national church directs us collectively toward being the prayer we wish answered. It invites us to participate actively in creating safe places within which we can ask questions without ridicule, and it dares us to work toward transformation of the world through justice. Such a vision also invites us to realize that God's own name is mystery. In fact, A Song of Faith, the 2006 United Church Statement of Faith, begins with the words, "God is holy mystery, beyond complete knowledge, above perfect description." There is much more in that statement, but powerful words follow that first sentence to remind us of how we are embraced by mystery. It says, "Yet in love, the one eternal God seeks relationship." We all seek relationship when we live healthy lives. Consider this story of a mother-daughter conversation about a little girl's school progress report, what many of us would have called a report card. Although it displayed a steady stream of positive check marks, there was one check mark standing dejectedly alone from the rest. "How am I doing, Mom?" the girl asked, with a level of maturity that did not match the small, disheveled person gazing up at her mother with smudged eyeglasses that teetered on the tip of her nose. With her small finger, she pointed to her teacher's neatly printed words next to the lone check mark. It read, "Distracted in large groups," but her mother already knew this. Her mom knew this long before it was written in an official report card. Ever since the girl was a wee toddler, she offered astute observations of the world around her. After pointing out all the positives on the progress report, her mom told her what was written down. Upon hearing the news, the girl gave a tiny, uncertain smile and shyly admitted, "I do look around a lot." Before she could feel 1 ounce of shame, 1 iota of failure, her mother came down on bended knee and looked her straight in the eye, wanting her daughter to truly hear her words, hoping she might feel them deeply. Then the girl's mom said, "Yes, you do look around a lot. You noticed Sam sitting off by himself with a skinned knee on the field trip, and you comforted him. You noticed Banjo had a running nose, and the vet said it was a good thing we brought him in when we did. You noticed our waitress was working hard and suggested we leave an extra good tip. You noticed Grandpa was walking slower than the rest of us, so you waited for him. You noticed the beautiful view every time we crossed the bridge to go to swim practice." The girl's mother paused, aware that her daughter actually was absorbing her words. "And you know what? I don't ever want you to stop noticing, because that is your gift. It is your gift that you give to the world." Her daughter beamed, glowing with acceptance, while her mom realized her daughter's approach to life had the power to change the world. This story emphasizes that we are all just waiting for someone to notice, to notice our pain, to notice our scars, to notice our fear, to notice our joy, to notice our triumphs, and to notice our courage. The person who notices shares a rare and beautiful gift. In fact, the community of faith which notices each person shares a rare and beautiful gift, such as the gift Jesus gave to each person he encountered. Such as the gift we, as a community of faith, are called to share with one another, with strangers we meet, and with the wider world. It means that we look beyond the failings and foibles, beyond alienation and dispute, beyond what some call sin and others call brokenness, perceiving and celebrating each person as those the risen Christ calls, just as we are called. When you watch this video covering the song "The River" featuring Brian Dirksen, along with 143 singers, the very healing they sing about is the kind of healing that our congregation can provide if we dare. Consider this song as our prayer for today.
I am going, bringing sins I cannot bear. Come and cleanse me, come forgive me. Lord, I need to meet you there. In these waters, healing mercy flows with freedom from despair. I am going to that river. Lord, I need to meet you there. Precious Jesus, I am ready to surrender every care. Take my hand now, lead me closer. Lord, I need to meet you there. Come and join us in the river. calling. He is waiting. Jesus longs to meet you there. Precious Jesus, I am ready to surrender every care. Take my hand now, lead me closer. Lord, I need to meet you there. Precious Jesus, I am ready to surrender every care. Take my hand now, lead me closer. Lord, I need to meet you there. Take my hand now, lead me closer. Lord, I need to meet you there.
Thank you, everyone, for watching this video, for joining with me to explore some of what it means to be a caring community of faith, which leans into deep spirituality, which encourages bold discipleship, and which dares to act for justice. Thank you as well to David Skinner and Terry Boyd, who upload these fireside chats each week to our YouTube channel. I couldn't do this without you. Before we go, this is my wish for you. Smiles when sadness intrudes, comfort on difficult days, rainbows to follow the clouds, hugs when spirits sag, laughter to kiss your lips, beauty for your eyes to see, sunsets to warm your heart, friendships to brighten your being, faith so that you can believe, patience to accept the truth, confidence for when you doubt, courage to know yourself, love to complete your life. With that hopeful blessing, I look forward to seeing you at next week's Fireside Chat. Goodbye.